all of these religious leaders in America on television, they have contracts under the table with international oil cartels, drug cartels, banking cartels, and they are reaping in millions of dollars in private profits in European banks that American Christians have no idea in the world about. But all you have to do is just start doing some homework and checking on all of the so-called Christian leaders who are all for the state of Israel. Find out how much money did you make last year. Then you begin finding out the oil companies put up millions of dollars for Christian churches to send out missions. So many of the Christian missionaries that go out around the world, and these you see them nightly on television, missionary movements that go out to the poor, starving people of Africa and the poor people of China. These missions are being financed, but a lot of the big churches are not telling their people that it's being financed by oil companies. Oil companies and drug cartels are financing many of the church's missions throughout the world. We now know, we have documented proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that World War I, World War II were planned long in advance. The things which are going on in the Middle East have been planned for, I believe, at least 40 years, minimum. I can show you at least 40 years ago that this government, American government, was already keenly anticipating a major war in the Middle East. When the corporation called United States, after the change of the century, coming into 1900s, decided they wanted to expand. They got so much money and they're doing so well. They thought maybe we could expand the business, move the corporation out a little bit. Let's expand business. Let's go to Germany or Europe and open up a big corporation there and take in their corporation, their government. We'll take them over. And the Germans said, "Hey, Jack, it's like a mafia. What are you coming over here? You're gonna buy me? I'll buy you. You don't buy me." Like the Godfather movie. What, you're going to come into Las Vegas and you're going to give me, and you're going to buy my hotels? Who says I'm going to sell my hotels? And the American corporation, British American corporation, said, unfortunately, maybe you didn't understand. Let me restate it so you understand. I didn't ask you. I'm telling you. We're moving in here. It's called a corporate takeover. And so there was a hostile corporate takeover where the American corporation decided they want to take over in Europe, and they didn't want to be taken over. Well, it's too bad. We'll take over anyway. So they called it a hostile corporate takeover. We call it World War I. So the corporation called United States was able to overthrow the existing corporate order in Europe, but it cost a lot of money. They had to build a lot of tanks and jeeps and pay a lot of people, and the corporation, well, they were successful. They did what they wanted to do, but they went broke doing it. And so when they went broke doing it, and then the bankers pulled their money out in 29, we had something called a stock market crash, because the corporation spent so much money, they went broke. So the international banker says, well, if you're broke, what are you coming to me for? I'm not going to loan you money if you're broke. And so what do you have as collateral? You got any collateral that you could put up for me to loan you the money? And the corporation called United States, the British corporation called United States, said, yes, we have the stock. We'll give you stock in the company. You are the stock in the corporation. So they give your body to the banks in Switzerland. So your body now becomes stock for the corporation called United States, because you are a money maker. Bankers came in and said, if we're going to loan you money, you guys have lost money. You guys have gone bankrupt. we're going to take care of the accounting. We're going to see where the money goes. We'll give you the money, but we're going to make it sure it goes where we want it to go. So they set up the Federal Reserve System and then the collection agency to make damn sure that you people pay us. We're going to set up to keep a record of how much you owe us in business each week. We're going to call that the Federal Reserve. And to make sure that your stock, all the chumps out there in America working, make sure the stock pays us. We're going to make sure they pay us. You don't just tell me you're going to pay. I'm going to make sure they're going to pay. So we will set up a collection agency. Our own personal collection agency is called the Internal Revenue. You mess with us, Jack, and we're going to hurt your face. You owe us money. So the banks loan money to the privately owned corporation called United States, and the United States Corporation gave your body, your birth certificate, to the banks as collateral for the loan, and that's why today Americans are nothing but slaves. Now this is something I want you to understand, and you need to listen carefully because this is profoundly important. Most people have never heard this and don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So try and follow what I'm going to tell you. There are two kinds of law on the earth, as I've said. One is called civil law, which is the law of the land, and one is called maritime admiralty, which is called the law of water. Maritime admiralty is banking law. And the law on the maritime admiralty says that you, because you came out of your mother's water, are a maritime admiralty product. This is why the ship is sitting in its berth and it's tied to the dock, and the captain has to give a certificate of manifest to the port authorities because money is changing hands. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. It's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is tied to, is the dock. So the dock signs your birth certificate. Why? Because you came down out of your mother's water. You came down her birth canal. You are a maritime admiralty product. And therefore your birth certificate is signed by your mother. And where your mother signed on the birth certificate, get it, you will see it does not say parent or mother, it says informant. Your mother was informing that the bank that she has just produced another product to be bought and sold. England, the British Crown, through international banking, owns your physical body, and that's the law. So you can think it's funny all you want. So the bottom line is that you are a maritime admiralty product, and therefore the banks own your body. And on the back of the Social Security card will be numbers in red. On the front will be in blue or black, but on the back will be in red. The numbers on the back of a Social Security card in red designate your body. It is the serial number of your stock. And this is why if you're wealthy, you are preferred stock. If you're poor, you are common stock. But you are a stock on the stock market. Your body is bought and sold through the use of your birth certificate. And if you could get your original birth certificate back, you would find that on the back of the birth certificate are all the banks around the world. All over the world, banks have used your birth certificate because you are a stock in a maritime admiralty banking scheme where you make money for banks.